Hello everyone, welcome to session 2. My name is Iulia Levedopoulou. I'm an architect and researcher in URBANA team. Today I will talk to you about participatory urbanism. What is this session about? This module aims to introduce participants to the principles and practices of participatory urbanism, highlighting how citizens, and especially youth, can actively shape their cities through inclusive and gender-aware approaches that challenge top-down planning and promote shared urban futures. This module explores participatory urbanism, emphasizing how people and communities can actually design their own cities and neighborhoods. Participants in this course will engage with different frameworks to analyze levels of community involvement and examine inclusive, gender-aware practices that move beyond simple consultation. Through real-world cases, the course encourages critical reflection in participatory processes and highlights how collaborative approaches can challenge top-down planning to foster equitable, vibrant urban development. So first step is to watch this pre-recorded video presentation to grasp the fundamental concepts. Then you can have a look at the end at the supplementary reference materials, including books, articles, and videos. And then throughout the module, we can have some reflective questions to consolidate your understanding and encourage critical thinking. So this module is divided into 5 sections. First section has to do with common beliefs about the city, some statements that many people believe about the city. Then we will proceed with the right to the city and we will explore this concept. What is the concept of reclaiming the city? Then we will go to section 3, which is who does the city fail? That actually means who is excluded from city-making processes. Then we will go to section 4, which is participatory design, working with and for communities, where we will explore some URBANA's workshops. And then this session will be completed with a short exercise, as we call it call for action. So let's get started. Common beliefs about the city. What are the stereotypes? Like, for example, cities cannot function without cars. Urban planning is neutral. It serves equally for everyone. Urban planning is neutral. It does not benefit any specific group. If women feel unsafe, they should avoid certain areas. If you do not feel comfortable in a space, it's probably your problem. Older people do not need public spaces. They stay home anyway. Children are citizens of the future. They do not need to be included in urban planning processes right now. Empty areas are ideal for developments and investments. Communities do not need a say. Residents do not know what their neighborhood really needs. Experts do. So, what do you think of these stereotypes? Do you agree? Let's move on to the next session, the right to the city. The right to the city is a concept that was initiated by Henry Lefebvre during the late 60s. The right to the city is a collective right to remake the city through social and spatial change. First of all, it's like a demand for urban life over commodification. Cities should prioritize people's needs, residents should reclaim their urban spaces, and cities should prioritize people's needs, not just capitalist profit and real estate interests. Also, it has to do with the right to participation. All residents should have the power to reshape decisions, planning, and governance of their own city and neighborhoods. This has also to do with the right to appropriation. People should be able to use, occupy, and transform urban space in meaningful and non-market ways. What is the feminist perspective in the right to the city? First of all, and very important aspect has to do with safety and mobility. Women's right to move freely in the city without the fear of violence. It also highlights the importance of care work and everyday life. Cities should support the gender realities of care work, meaning that women are usually the ones that do this kind of work. Intersectionality. The right to the city must account for differences in race, class, disability, sexuality, and migration status. And we have a closer look at this intersectionality at the next slides. And also highlights the participation, the importance of people to participate in city design of their neighborhoods. Women and marginalized genders must have meaningful roles in planning. When cities are safe and accessible for women, they actually work better for everyone. Meeting the needs of women and more vulnerable groups, designing for women's mobility and around care, ensures city is truly inclusive, usable, and comfortable for all, not just women. Let's have a closer look at intersectionality. Intersectionality, coined by Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989, is a framework for understanding how various social and political identities, such as race, gender, class, sexuality, and ability, overlap to create unique compounding experiences of discrimination and privilege, as you can see in this diagram on the right side. When it comes to city design, intersectionality as an approach recognizes that people face unique challenges based on gender, race, disability, and age. These overlapping disadvantages create barriers that urban planning often misses. As we can see here, people may face parallel discriminations or privileges. Urban planning that prioritizes everyday life actually centers human experience. Designing with everyday life in mind ensures urban spaces support routines, social interactions, and daily needs. Also, it enhances inclusion. Prioritizing daily activities makes cities more accessible and usable for diverse groups, and especially for those who care for others. It also fosters livability. Streets, parks, and public spaces that accommodate everyday life, encourage community engagement, and improve the quality of life overall. In your own experience, what does the right to the city really mean to you? What do you think? For whom cities are designed? Mobility systems or infrastructure? Let's move on to the next section. Who does the city fail? Who is excluded from cities? Let's have a look at this video. It is a video made by URBANA, reimagining cities a feminist perspective. What are the needs of women every day? What are their fears? Do they feel comfortable when navigating in urban spaces? What about people with disabilities? The importance of care, it's something that urban design should take into account. So let's proceed with the next slide. Women are a group of people that are often excluded from decision-making processes and often face challenges when it comes to city. First of all, it has to do with their safety and security. According to numerous reports and researches, women felt less safe than men in all settings after dark, and especially when walking alone in open public spaces or when using public transport, as we can see in this report. Also, women faces challenges as caregivers. Men often make direct home-to-work trips by car, while caregiving roles demand a different transport system design. Women tend to make shorter, more frequent multi-stop journeys on foot or by using public transport. As we can see in this diagram by collective punces, we can see that men tend to make more linear trips from point A to point B, like for example, home to work, often traveling by car, while women, due to caregiving responsibilities, tend to make shorter, more frequent, and more complex trips, as for example, they have to go to their children's school and then back to work or shopping, often traveling on foot or by using public transport. Teenagers are another category of people that are often excluded from city-making processes, and their needs are often overlooked as well. Teenagers are facing both gender and age-related barriers to their engagement in public spaces, which can reduce outdoor activities and their social interactions, negatively impacting their mental health and well-being. And of course, children. Children are citizens of city today, not in the future. So their needs should also equally prioritized. To have more play spaces in the city is very, very important. Also, older people face different challenges. According to a report, 65% of older women compared to 29% of older men reported fear of going outdoors. So we can see also the gender difference when it comes to older people. Of course, people with disabilities. Cities are often designed around narrow assumptions. A standard pedestrian who is able-bodied, has no care responsibilities, and moves in predictable ways. Also, women with disabilities face everyday challenges in urban spaces, where more time spent outside does not translate into greater freedom, as Caterina Oliveira mentioned. The intersection of ableism and sexism shapes their experiences, forcing them into longer routes and constant detours due to broken or blocked infrastructure. These barriers accumulate, resulting in ongoing mental and physical fatigue that is often invisible in traditional urban planning. Migrants and refugees and other ethnic minorities in Europe usually face socioeconomic deprivation and may often reside in neighborhoods with limited access to public green spaces. And of course, the right to the city, it appears that it does not something that has to do with them. So, how about you? Do you feel safe, comfortable, and welcome where you live? Now let's move to the next chapter, participatory design, working with and for communities. As Jane Jacobs mentioned, it is very important to design cities for people. It is very important to design cities that are human-centered and not just car-centered. Cities have the ability, as she said, cities have the ability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they are created by everybody. And it is very important to watch the documentary about her, and it's very useful information. It is very important to designing cities for diverse needs. It is also important when it comes to inclusive urban planning, to designing cities with and for communities. If you do not ask people what are the needs when it comes to their neighborhoods, it's probably something that maybe an intervention that is going to happen may overlap their needs. Also, it is very important to design cities that prioritize everyday life. As Dolores Hayden mentioned, the city should be designed for the routines of everyday life, like work, childcare, shopping, and socializing, not just for cars, commerce, or monumental architecture. So, what is participatory design? A design approach that actively involves all stakeholders, especially in all city design processes, often used in urban planning to make urban interventions more usable and inclusive. Focuses on collaboration and co-creation to ensure solutions meet local people's needs. And of course, it encourages feedback, iteration, and shared decision-making throughout development. In inclusive participation, it's very important because it ensures that people of all backgrounds, abilities, gender, and ages shape equally urban spaces. In this way, barriers can be reduced. Inclusive processes make it easier for marginalized or underrepresented groups to influence decisions. And also, of course, inclusive participation fosters belonging. When all participants and all residents can contribute, communities feel more connected and represented. So, why feminist perspective matters? A feminist perspective ensures participation includes women and other marginalized groups. Without this feminist lens, participation risks reproducing existing power imbalances. Feminist participatory design prioritizes care, safety, accessibility, and everyday lived experiences. So the following slides are some photos from workshops made by URBANA team in different contexts and with different groups of people. Like this one, participation workshops with young women in a neighborhood of Athens. You can watch the video about this project on YouTube. Another project with young women in another city of Greece, Ioannina. Participatory workshops with children. It is very important when it comes to this kind of participatory processes to create and adapt tools that can be easily used by children as well. Also, it is very important to include older people in such design processes. As we have explained, older people were often excluded from these processes and therefore their needs were not taken into account. And of course, caregivers. They face different challenges every day. So what do you think of the urban planning? Based on what you heard at this module, do you think your city or neighborhood are designed the same way for everyone? Who do you think benefit most from the way your city is planned, and who might be left out? When people say urban planning is neutral, do you agree? Can you think of examples where design choices might affect people differently based on gender, age, ability, or background? That's all from me. You can find here some more inspiration. Thank you all. See you at the next session.